Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Well, there's a party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and everybody's gonna spread the holiday cheer. 'Cause it's Christmas. Oh, it's the best time of the year.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So we did the first Simpsons Christmas episode early in this show. I want to say it was
we
one of our
did.
first years, and I think you picked it,
It was my pick.
which was
Yeah.
interesting because I am way more of the Simpsons geek than you are.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the few like Simpsons episodes that I can just go through off the top of my head. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming you can go through multiple seasons.
Multiple
probably. But yeah, it was an episode that I really love, and I had just started watching some of The Simpsons. I think it had just gotten picked up by Disney Plus, so it was real easy to access at that point. So I had just started watching it, and I was like, this is a really solid pick for our first one. And it's wild that we've waited this long to do another one.
So a thing that I'm going to tell you about this, I'm going to read a couple notes that I got from the Wikipedia on this episode.
Yeah.
But this episode isn't just my favorite Simpsons Christmas episode. It's probably in my top 10 favorite Simpsons episodes, period. I love this episode.
Yeah.
So here's a couple notes from the Wikipedia because I think it starts the conversation for us, and then we can kind of dive into the episode deeper. The showrunner of The Simpsons at the time, Bill Oakley, thinks that this is one of the most beautifully directed episodes of the show. He called the hand coloring very vivid and bright. The episode is also the first Christmas episode the producers had done since the very first episode of the series, The Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. Oakley said that no one on the writing staff ever wanted to try Christmas again because it was so famous for being the first episode. Lawrence Tierney guest starred in this episode as Don Braca. Another former showrunner, Josh Weinstein, later said that his appearance was the craziest guest star experience they had ever had. In addition to him constantly yelling and intimidating the employees of the show, he made requests that were considered unreasonable, such as abandoning his distinctly gruff voice and insisting that he should do a Southern accent for the character, and refusing to perform any lines if he didn't understand the joke. Despite this, Oakley and Weinstein both thought that he did a great job. Weinstein said, "He certainly delivered, and he's one of my favorite characters that we've ever had on the show." On the DVD review for this, it said, thanks to the keen eye of the writers, a rarely shown good side of Bart works in this episode. The episode shows very well both an amusing insight to the way a child's mind can work, as well as their strong relationship between their mother. The DVD movie guide once described it as being one of the sappier episodes at the time, but it still packs a ton of terrific laughs. He commented that he absolutely lost it when Homer's drawing of a robot grilling a hot dog is first seen. It's funnier every single time you see it, and said that the guest voice as the store detective adds hilarious, unnecessary grit to the show. The episode did not fall into the classic category, but offers more than enough entertainment to satisfy. And then lastly, another review said that the best part of the episode has to be when a depressed Bart makes a snowman from dirty leftover snow under the car, calling the scene amazingly pathetic. And
that killed me.
Yeah.
When he gets home and he's like, "You guys didn't wait for me?" And Marge is like, We just thought you would be a little too old for this. Don't worry, there's some snow left over there, and it's just the gray slush that gets scooped up under your tires. There's no snow on the ground, by the way.
They use every bit of snow to make this snowman family. This episode right out the gate, I think, just captures what The Simpsons did so well in their early years, which is like capture a snapshot of that time.
Yes.
Because the crusty kind of Christmas is such a perfect parody of what 80s and 90s Christmas specials felt like, where he's like opening the door for carolers and he's like, look who's happening to be here. It's so-and-so. And then like a random celebrity he clearly doesn't know and can't pronounce the name of. Like, it's so fucking good. And then it cuts to Bart and Lisa watching it, and Lisa astutely is like, isn't Krusty Jewish? Yeah. And Bart goes, well, Christmas is the time that people of all religions come together to worship Jesus Christ.
Can I just say that we're going to do like a little callback, but every couple days I chuckle at our discussion during the Bare Naked Ladies CD, where I was like, why haven't we done that Rugrats Hanukkah special yet?
Oh man, I had fun editing that. I was laughing back. I was like,
every couple days I just stop and go, what the fuck, Dylan?
Seriously.
Sometimes I just don't think, but that it adds for hilarious content. But yes, isn't Krusty is definitely Jewish.
He's definitely Jewish. And then we get this commercial that again is so close to what the video game commercials of the 90s were like.
100%. It was very like extreme.
Yeah, like it's the kids are playing like Mortal Kombat and they're like, this is boring. And then a Santa Claus on a sleigh drugged by like rabid reindeer smashed through, and uses a bazooka to fire the game into their system. And then like it is just this brutal game, and he's like, so go tell your parents, buy me Bone Storm or go to hell.
Bone Storm.
And then Bart walks up to Marge and says, hey, buy me Bone Storm or go to hell. And Homer goes, in this house we use a little word called please. Marge is telling him she doesn't think that she's going to get him that game. It's too violent. And he's like, but it's the only thing I want. And this is a classic Homer moment where he gets down to Bart's level and he says, I get it, son. When I was a kid, I wanted an electric football game more than anything. And then my parents got it for me, and it was the happiest day of my life. And then he just walks away. Homer has
it was
so
the
many.
happiest day of my life.
This is one of the best Homer episodes because he has that line. There's a line later that I think about all the time when they're in the mall shopping and Marge is looking at this watch and she's like, look at that watch. I always wanted a watch like that. And he's like, well, maybe someone will get you one for Christmas. And then it zooms up to his head. And he's like, now she's going to be really surprised when she gets that iron board cover. It's so there's a joke that they refer to during these seasons of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
That they call the screw the audience jokes, where it's that there's a setup and in your mind, you're like, okay, I know where this punchline is going. And then they go so off into a different direction from that like preconceived punchline that it somehow becomes funnier because it's so unexpected where it's about to go. There's a great example of a screw the audience joke when we get to Don Braca showing up, but we have this moment that is really cute where, and it's kind of to me the focal point of the whole episode, is that Marge is doing these special good night things for each one of her kids. And for Bart, it's tuck-in time. And it's like this whole little rhyme that she sings while she's tucking him in for bed. And Bart's like at that age where he's like, Mom, I'm too old for tuck-in time. Like, leave me alone, blah, 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 blah. Just keep that in your mind, listeners, if you haven't watched this episode. Yes. So Bart is like he just wants this Bone Storm game. Marge has made it clear she's not going to get it for him. So he walks by the comic book shop and he sees Bone Storm, 99 cents.
Yeah.
And he runs in with his 99 cents. And he's like, I'd like to buy a copy of Bone Storm. And the comic book shop owner's like, oh, that'll only net me negative $59. And then he opens the cash register. He's like, please take my $59. And Bart starts to reach for it. He goes, okay, well, since you're not understanding sarcasm, 99 cents is the rental price. And then he tells him like where he's like, can I rent it? And he's like, oh, it's all rented out, but you can get this putting challenge game that I have. And Bart walks away all sad. And
Dude, I play the shit out of that putting challenge game.
Then he walks past Milhouse's house, and it's obvious that he's playing the game. And this is probably one of the more famous jokes in this episode.
Yeah.
Is Milhouse is like, this game's amazing, and all I did was put in my name, Thrill House. And then it cuts to the screen and it says Thrill Ho. We get this awesome bit in the episode where every time that Bart wants to do something with Milhouse that Milhouse doesn't want to share, he claims that Bart's doing something wrong. Yes. So he's like, Mom, Bart's cursing. And then he gets kicked out of the house. Later on, it's Mom, Bart's smoking because he's like, I'm over that game. I'm really into this cup and ball thing.
Yep.
Hey Geekscapists, it's Matt Kelly here. You know me from my appearances on basically every show on the network, as well as the work that I do on our YouTube channel, Geekscape TV. And I'm here to let you know that on December 6th, we are having the 5th annual Geekscape Holiday Live Stream Spectacular. That's right, another 24-hour event of us going through all of the different shows, hanging out with each other, and most importantly, trying to raise money for the Big Brothers Big Sisters of coastal and northern New Jersey. We've made it extra easy for people to donate this year. Just go to geekscapegives.com. It'll take you right to our donation page so that you can go and make a difference in a child's life. Also, we're hoping that you'll tune in. If you're a night owl, from 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 6th, we'll be running a 9-hour video of some of our favorite moments from the first 4 live stream events before we dive straight in at 9 a.m. We'll be talking to Charlene from Big Brothers Big Sisters. We'll be watching some silly videos together. The people from Horror Movie Night and Jersey Ghouls are going to be ranking all of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. There's going to be music trivia from One Hit Thunder. Napping Through Happy Hour is going to be doing a collab with other people from the podcast. The big final event at 10 p.m. is a giant Geekscape role-playing game where we are Muppets trying to save Santa Claus. There's not going to be a single second that you're going to want to miss of this live stream. So whether you're at work or at home, throw it on in the background. Let us entertain you for 24 straight hours of podcasting gold. And more importantly than any of that, visit geekscapegives.com and make a donation. You can make a donation starting today, but the live stream is December 6th. We hope you'll tune in. Bart goes to the local shopping mart, and this is like one of my favorite examples of them capturing the way a child's mind works, because he goes, maybe if I just stand by the games looking sad, someone will feel bad and buy me a copy.
Dude, oh my God. Like, it is the most child logic ever.
Yeah.
I feel like every single person has done that in life.
Yeah.
Or like,
so
if I stand over here, I go to the video game section or the movie section in Walmart, and if I stand here looking at things, maybe my parents, when they walk by, they'll see how much I want this thing.
Yes.
And then
it's amazing because it's so spot on, right? So then he's standing there, and this douchey kid comes in and is just such an asshole to his mom, and she's buying him the game, and Bart's, again, that child logic, all Bart can think is, that must be the happiest kid in the world. He's so clearly an asshole. And then the bullies show up, and I love this little joke where they're stealing things and they refer to it as a 4-finger discount because cartoon characters only have four fingers. So they convince Bart to steal the game. He steals it. He runs out the shop, and this is where we get introduced to Don Braca, who there's literally a band named after this character now. There's like
there is.
There are really good bands, but he grabs him. He's like, I got to take you inside the store. And I love this bit where he walks past Santa, and Santa Claus is like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, little fella. And he goes, not this one. And he goes, oh. I see.
Because that's how Santa is viewed, man.
Yeah. So he puts on this video about shoplifting. It's whatever. But the bit that I laugh so hard, and this is what I consider like a perfect screw the audience joke, is Don Brocka's like, I got to call your parents. And he calls, and his voicemail is something along the lines of like, hello, Mrs. Simpson, this is Don Brocka. That's right, Don Brocka, security guard here at Shopping Mart. I'm sorry to inform you, but your son has been caught shoplifting. Yes, I know. Well, please try to have a good Christmas. He hangs up the phone and goes, they weren't home, you see, but I left a message on their answering machine. It's so perfect. Like how it sounds so much like an actual conversation up until that point.
Yeah.
So then Bart is rushing to change the answering machine tape while simultaneously Homer's trying to rush home to change Maggie's poopy diaper.
Yes.
And he flips the tape in, and it's just Alan Sherman's Camp Granada.
And then he puts the actual voice recording into the
putting
the
it where
Camp
no one will
Granada tape.
ever find it.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, so he's feeling great. He's like, I finally got away with it. Everything's good. He's coming
Guilt-free.
downstairs full of joy. And this is when Marge informs him, like, hey, we're going to take a family photo at the store that she doesn't realize Bart is banned from. So Bart's
heart sinks. Like this is a situation I feel like we have all kind of found ourselves in where we're like trying to get away with something. We're feeling real sneaky, and then some shit like that happens, and you just feel that just the pit of your stomach just fall out.
Yes. And Bart puts on some like fake face putty to try to like hide his appearance. Yes. And this is when Marge has this very funny moment where she's just like, look, I just want one good family photo. And they're looking at all the family Christmas photos, and they're like increasingly more absurd. But the one is Bart is holding a giant word bubble in front of Homer's face that says "I stink," and he goes, "I don't remember saying that." And they get to the place, and Bart's like still in that like, maybe we can pull this off, where he's like, we're just showing up and doing the photo, right? Like that's it. And they're like, no, let's make a day out of it. We're gonna go shopping.
God.
And he's like doing his best to avoid the security guard. So they finally get there to take the photo, and Maggie won't stop crying. And this is like one of those little bits that I love where the photographer goes, don't worry, I'm an expert at making kids smile. And he takes the balloon. He's like, say hello to Mr. Funny Voice. And he sucks in the balloon. He's like, hello. Oh, that was just air. This is where Don Brocka grabs Bart, ruins the photo because the photo is literally him being pulled off of camera as they snap it. And this part breaks my heart because this happened to my mom with my brother, where Marge is like, I know my son, he would never do that. And then they show the footage of him clearly doing it. That happened with my brother where he got in trouble for cursing on the school bus, and my mom fought tooth and nail for him, and then they just pulled the security camera from the school bus and played it for her. And it's
it happens much more often than you would think.
Oh my God. And my brother's like, I remember that was the worst moment of my life, was sitting next to my mom watching that tape. Like,
yeah. And that kind of is the turn in the episode as well, because Marge very much plays the I'm not angry mother. I'm just like super fucking disappointed in you.
And Homer is the angry parent, right? So we this is where we go to commercial break. We come back. One of my favorite lines from any Simpsons episode, Homer is yelling at Bart. And he's like, why do you think I took you to all those Police Academy movies? For fun? Well, I didn't hear anybody laughing, did you? Such a good joke. Mm-hmm. But then Bart, like Marge is just like, just go to your room. And Bart's all excited. He's like, I got off pretty okay. And Lisa, being the younger sage like one, is like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I know Mom. And when Mom's really hurt, you'll know. And this is when Marge doesn't do tuck-in time with him. She just says good night and shuts off the light. And he starts to realize that she doesn't see him as this little boy anymore. She sees him as this guy who's going to make his own decisions. And she has no control over how he's going to act anymore, and that kills her. This is where we do get the robot cooking a hot dog over a grill bit.
Yes. Oh God, it's so good.
The drawing is so perfectly bad. Like, it is awful.
Can we make that like part of the Instagram post?
Sure. I will make sure that that's in there.
Yeah.
Then, like, the rest of this episode, I wrote down, it's both sweet and sad for the last 5 minutes of this episode. And there's still funny bits, but like it's him coming downstairs and everybody's having breakfast without him. And she gives him his hot chocolate, but she didn't put the marshmallow in it. And she's like, you're old enough to put a marshmallow in your hot chocolate. And then he does, and the marshmallow immediately absorbs the entire thing. So he just flumps it on a plate and starts cutting it. That's when Grandpa chimes in. He's like, hey, give me a slice.
It's so gross.
It's so gross. And this is where we talked about the snowman. They build a snowman family, and Bart has to, like, shoddily put together a snowman. But I love this ending where Bart's like, all right, they want to see how bad I can be. And he goes back into the store, and Marge is convinced that he stole the game again because he comes in like trying to hide something in his pocket. And she, tells him, like, you got to give that to me. And what it is that he got a picture of himself looking normal so that she can have a photo of him as a boy.
With a receipt.
With the receipt and everything to prove that he paid for it. Like, and then she hangs it on the wall, and then she gives him a gift, and she says, the man at the store said it was what every little boy wanted. And he's so excited, and he opens it, and it's the putting challenge game from earlier. And then we get this awesome ending where we just watch him playing the putting challenge.
Trying so hard to get any form of enjoyment out of this game.
He's like, I recommend you use a putter. You have chosen 9-iron. I recommend doing a light, gentle hit. You have chosen hyperdrive. Ball is in parking lot. Would you like to try again? You have selected no. It's just classic Simpsons.
It's a very solid episode. It's so heartwarming. It's perfect for the season. I would say for their second Christmas episode, which is wild. I get it. Like, I get their reasoning of wanting not to go back to that. Because of how famous the first one became. But it's a great episode. I think it's up there with the first one. I
will tell you that I think the Christmas episodes go downhill from here. We'll probably do a few other ones, but like the way that the Christmas episodes got worse, the more often they did it, it makes you realize, like, oh, they were probably right to, like, say, hey, we're holding off until we really truly have a Christmas episode idea. But this one, I mean, I think that this is the best one. The first one is fine. It's just that it's like that early Simpsons, right? So like the animation looks just off. The voice acting is just off. Like, where this is like, no, this looks like the Simpsons that I know and love. So you're kind of more like, you buy it a little bit easier.
Yeah. And I think we've had similar conversations like that in the past with other TV shows.
Yeah.
We talked about that with Community.
Community,
the
South
characters
Park,
aren't completely developed yet.
And that's the other thing. I also think that
different.
I think the Simpsons have a very specific type of humor that they're known for, and that humor wasn't developed in the first season. So like the first season feels, I almost want to say the first season, the first Christmas episode and the first episode of the show feels more sweet than funny, whereas this actually feels like a very funny episode of television.
And this episode is super fast paced.
Yeah.
I mean, there are quick jokes like that. You have to watch this multiple times to pick up on everything.
Well, and that's like what this season, like this era of the Simpsons seasons, I think it's usually like seasons 3 through 8 that people highlight, was just the writing staff was so good at like just joke after joke after joke after joke, but also doing this bit where this is like one of the more straightforward episodes. More often than not, the first act felt like its own mini episode that at the end of Act 1 you build out what the actual episode is about. And then it's like, it like makes it quicker paced and frenetic. This one pretty much introduces like, hey, it's about Bodenstorm. It's about this. It's about like, it kind of puts the pieces of the puzzle in front of you a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Then, like, a prime example is, like, I can't even remember what episode this is, but one of the episodes starts off with them finding out that a great aunt died and that they have to spend the night in a haunted house in order to get that great aunt's inheritance. And it, like, pans up to the house and lightning strikes around the house. And then they, like, go to sleep, and then the sun comes back up, and they're like, what an easy breezy night that was. Like, they're all, like, perfectly laid, like, it was totally fine. And then the lawyer's just like, now you each get the inheritance, $100 to each of you. And then they go out to spend the $100, and what Bart spends the $100 on is what the rest of the episode, like, it's literally like 5 minutes of a mini short that has nothing to do with the grand scheme of things, but it provides the $100 for the rest of the episode. Like, that's the normal Simpsons structure of those seasons of, like, you never know what the episode's about until 5-6 minutes into it, which is crazy for a 22-minute long episode. But Dylan, I'm glad we finally got to do this one, because I remember watching this last Christmas and being like, ooh, we really have to do this one next December, and, like, writing it down and putting, like, all of my little asterisks and symbols next to it to be like, this is the one you're picking next year.
For sure.
So,
no, this is a great episode. I always end up watching some of The Simpsons and go, I should watch some more of that. And I'm sure I will, as our conversation before we were recording. I'll watch some of it and then fall off real hard again, as I am one to do.
Hey, you know what? Maybe just start, like, season 3. You don't need, it's not serialized. Just dive in.
Yeah, just going like a random.
Yeah,
that's what we need. We need more shuffle.
Yeah,
on our TV shows, but, like, you got to be able to set parameters, because, like, I don't want to watch new Simpsons.
No, you don't want to get like you don't want to get like Simpsons season 23 or something. Like, you just stick with those classic first, like, 8. Well, Dylan, thank you so much once again. Merry Christmas, buddy.
Merry Christmas, dude.
Oh, whoa, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holly, have a great holly, have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.